Want to welcome you back to the second half of Conference USA Media Day. I'm Ron Thulin. We'll be with you throughout the afternoon as we finish out the 14 teams in Conference USA. Joining us now from Louisiana Tech, their head coach, Skip Holtz. Skip, good to see you, buddy.
How you doing, Ron? Nice to see
good?
you as well. Been going great. Really ready to get started.
Well, we're going to also introduce your players because as we will do throughout the day, we will not only have the head coach, we will also have players from their respective teams. Joining us, Kenneth Dixon, running back Kenneth Dixon. I want you to just mark this young man's name because he's going to be one of the best in the conference this year. Also joining us, linebacker Tony Johnson. Tony, good to have you here, buddy.
Nice to meet you.
Good to have you. Now, see, I blew smoke on you, so you better live up to it this year. Okay, I'm gonna talk to the coach first. Offense seemed to struggle last year. What did you pinpoint the problem?
Well, I mean, a couple of them. We didn't have a lot of speed at receiver to stretch a field, and people were able to load the box. We had to replace 4 new starters on the offensive line, and we had some inexperience at the quarterback position where we really struggled turning the ball over. Any one of those can lead to a bad offense. All 3 of them really sometimes made it really hard to watch, but that's what excites me so much about going into this season. I think the staff has done a great job of really starting to plug some of those holes on the offensive side of the ball, and I think with the experience that we return on defense, it's going to be an exciting year.
You mentioned about plugging the holes. And once again, it seems like the second year in a row you've got to plug holes on the offensive line.
Right. I mean, we've lost 7 starters in 2 years, and that's quite a challenge for our offensive line coach, Matt Moore. But a lot of new names. You're going to see a lot of new faces, but guys that have been in the program. When you talk about guys like Brunson and Manning and Darryl Brown that have been sitting out and adding a couple junior college players, when you start talking about Kirby Wixon, Mahaffey, you've got Mitchell Bell returns, Trey Carter returns. So I'm excited about the players that we have. I think we have the nucleus and we have some talent in place to really bring that offensive line together, but that's going to be one of the keys is really watching that thing gel as we get into camp.
You mentioned wide receivers and bringing in new players. One player we're going to have to keep our eye on is Paul Turner, a transfer from LSU. And when you watch him on tape,
yes,
he obviously can stretch the field. That takes pressure off a lot of people.
Agreed, and it's something we need. And again, when you look at Paul Turner's speed, he was a quarterback at West Monroe High School right there in Monroe. Very talented player, has really adapted to playing the wide receiver position. He creates speed. A couple other younger guys that have some speed, and a junior college transfer in Sanford C that I think gives us a little bit more explosiveness on the perimeter, so we can take some of that pressure off Kenneth Dixon and that offensive line just to create holes. But we can get that secondary where they have to sit back and play a little bit of a 2-shell as well.
Let's talk about the quarterback position because Ryan Higgins seems to be the man going into the fall.
Right.
But he's got some competition too.
There's 4 new faces in that room.
Because you have the transfer too.
We did. Cody Sokol, who was a transfer from Iowa, great young man, played junior college, broke all of Tim Rattay's records. Wow. I know a lot of the people at Louisiana Tech are very familiar with Tim Rattay and his success. And for him to come in and to have Taylor Birch, who had played baseball for 2 years. He was a football player for the 2 years previous to that from Evangel High School, from Evangel High School over in Monroe. For him to come in and then to have the 2 freshmen. I really like Price Wilson and Alex Woodall, the 2 young quarterbacks as well. So there's going to be a heck of a battle, and we're going to have to make some decisions early.
Well, before we get to the players, the defensive line, you lost 3 starters, but you look at the team, you kind of had an 8-man rotation last year, so you do have experience coming back.
We do. Guys like Vernon Butler, who played a huge role for us last year. You have Vontarius Dora, and then guys like McKinney and D'Angelo Brooks, but also the addition of Houston Bates, the defensive end from Illinois, who transferred down as a graduate and going to be a senior.
Who was all Big Ten.
Who was an all Big Ten player and played there for 3 years, and so really excited to have him at the addition. And I think with the experience we returned at linebacker in the secondary, as well as those guys coming back up front, we have a chance to be a pretty solid defensive football team.
Is Houston Bates going to be that hybrid kind of guy, do you think, or is he going to stick him at one position?
He'll probably be a little bit more of the defensive end, but he'll also play some of that hybrid because when you look at him, he's kind of an undersized defensive end, but he's got athletic ability to be able to drop and do some things.
I'm going to talk to your players a little bit here.
Great.
Linebacker Tony Johnson's only started 2 games, but he split time between linebacker and fullback. Which one do you like better?
Linebacker.
Why?
Definitely linebacker.
You'd rather be the hitter than the hittee, right?
The Lord said it's better to give than receive.
Getting biblical here at Conference USA Media Day. Talk about your defense last year. Where did you improve, and where do you need to go this season?
I mean, I believe I improved technically, like my work on my technique and just getting my drops and filling holes and learning more about the game, become a student of the game. I believe I need to work on my drops and be a little bit faster and lose a little weight.
Well, the thing that stood out for the defense for me is when I was looking down at the coaching and I see the name Manny Diaz, who I've known for a number of years. A lot of guys that coach University of Texas are now coaching with you. What does Coach Diaz bring to the table?
He brings energy, a lot of energy, and he's determined, and he brings aggression to the table.
And how about the schemes? Is there much change?
Oh yeah, we're more versatile. We're more attack downhill type defense.
You're not a reaction? You go after the ball instead?
Yes, sir.
Good. You excited about it then?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the offense then. And joining us now also Kenneth Dixon. Missed 2 full games and parts of others in 2013 because of a knee, but despite that, he was still second team All-Conference USA. Was it tough last year being injured like that?
Yes, sir. It was tough. I mean, you know, going through the injuries and everything. Just seeing your team go out there on the field without you. But I was there with them, you know, on the sideline, still cheering for them and everything. Still in good spirits, just trying to lead the team, you know.
I mean, think about it. 917 yards rushing, and you miss a couple of games and parts of others. Does that 1,000-yard barrier, is that out there for you, something you want to get as far as rushing?
I mean, it is, but you know, I'm more of a guy that likes to win. I'm not too big on stats or nothing like that. I just going to go out there and put the work in, and hopefully we get the win.
Now, come on, when you go home, your relatives say, you know, you're
Yeah,
83
yeah,
yards away from 1,000.
They asked me
don't,
about
don't
it.
try to kid me
They
on that.
asked me about it, but you know.
Yeah, and somehow you'll remember, well, actually I was 83 yards away from 1,000. You knew it.
I just go out there and just give them all.
Talk about Ryan Higgins and the fact that you're adding a player like Paul Turner. How much does that take the pressure off you as a running back? Because now you have a wide receiver that can stretch a field. You have Higgins, who has had some playing time. You know, although there's still competition there. Does that take pressure off you that people can't key on you as a running back?
Yes, sir. It takes a lot of pressure off you. You know, once you get somebody that can run the field deep, that requires a too high safety, you know, to get some of those people that's out the box, so we can open some holes, you know.
Space is what he's good. That's what he likes.
Is that what you like, the
Yes,
space?
And that's what Tony's so good at, is taking it away.
Well, you need some takeaways this next year.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, it seems like you guys would have to up that mark a little bit and not cough it up so much and take away more. Has that been a point of emphasis for you?
We've looked at that and worked on that very much.
Is that something that you guys have?
We've done a lot of the turnover circuits, and I think defensively, I thought we did a good job, but offensively, we've got to do a much better job of protecting the ball. When you look at the number of interceptions we threw, that is obviously the key point right now for us as a football team. We've got to eliminate the turnovers as an offensive football team if we want to be competitive. This is a great league. It's a very competitive league, and when you look at it, the team that was picked to win first last year finished last, and it shows you the parity and how even this league is. And I think the difference in the teams that are going to win down the stretch, you're going to have to win close games, you're going to have to protect the ball, and you're going to have to stay healthy as you go through the season with some of the great players that we have.
I've got to talk about the schedule because you open up the season at Oklahoma, then you have to play Auburn the last week of September.
Right.
How do you approach those games?
Well, we play our first 3 games all against bowl teams, all on the road in the first 13 days of the season.
You got a schedule better, Coach.
It's not just Oklahoma. I wish I had something to do with this one, but I can't. You look at, we got to go to Oklahoma, and then we play at Lafayette, and then we play North Texas on Thursday night in our first conference game. So those first 3 games against 3 bowl teams, we're going to have to be oiled up, and we're going to have to be playing well early. But I also think it's going to help our football team grow. Playing teams like Oklahoma and Auburn, you can talk about what that level is, and they're top 5 teams in the country. But until you get on the field and play with them, I think it can help us in the long run. And it's a tremendous opportunity for our football team to go out and showcase the progress that we've made. But I think if we can get through that first stretch of football games and we can get into the middle of the year, then I think we're really excited to see where we are, what we've learned about our football team, not just in a wins and losses standpoint, but how we handle adversity, how we've kind of come together. Because if we can do it, I think some pieces are in place for us to be able to make a run at this conference the second half of the year.
Just think, we're about 5 weeks away.
I know. Can't get here quick enough.
I'll see you
Can't
in
get here.
Norman, brother.
I look forward to
See
it.
you in Norman.
We'll see you at Oklahoma.
Yeah, gentlemen, best of luck. Good handshakes there. I like that, guys. Best of luck. Stay healthy. We'll be back with more after this.